A few years ago, when I was pre-transition, I was on my way to the hospital to have my egg freezing procedure done. I was doing it so I can have biological kids in the future because I never actually saw myself pregnant. But of course, me being me, I found myself in another predicament. I was very anxious and very stressed about the whole thing. I went through 2 weeks of injecting myself with hormones to stimulate my ovulation, and my emotions were so up and down. When I got to the hospital, I had to do another set of blood tests, and I have been given a gown, which I was told to just put it on. I don't know what was going on through my mind, but I did not remove my boxers, and I did not remove the packer that I had in my boxers. A nurse came to take me into the operating room, and she asked me if I removed all my clothes, and I was like, yes. In that moment, I completely forgot about my boxers and my packer because panic and fear was setting in. So I entered the operating room. I was asked to go on the operating table, however it's called. I remember that two other nurses were there. I was even more shocked when I saw a male nurse, and I was asked to put my legs up high on those, like, how do they call them, like high thingies. There I was, legs wide open. The nurses were roaming around me. No one looked between them yet. The male nurse started explaining to me what type of anesthetic they will be using and how I will be asleep in no time. I still did not realize that the boxers with the packer were on me and that I was not naked underneath the hospital gown. A female nurse turned up at one side of my head, I believe it was the right hand side of my head, and started smiling. She started explaining to me how they're gonna get inside of me with a long needle and they are going to retrieve my eggs. I was terrified. She made it seem like it was a piece of cake. Well, to them, of course. At this point, my mind was full of like horror scenarios involving needles. I had to ask if I'm going to be in grave pain afterwards. She smiled again and she reassured me that the pain will not be unbearable. However, she did say that I will have to rest for a day or two and I will need someone to come with me to the hospital to take me home after the procedure to make sure that I get home safely. Another nurse positioned herself in front of my wide open legs and added some sort of like a blanket over my knees. She asked me if I was informed that I need to remove all my clothes. I froze. I reached down with my hand and I realized I still had the boxers with the packer in them. I turned red. I excused myself and I asked if I can go to the toilet. The nurse was smiling and blushing. And she did say, don't worry, this happens to other trans guys too. It's okay, you are just nervous.